Good evening, folks, and welcome to Garbage Theater. Tonight's installment, Fateful Findings. I'm your host, Chase, with my co-host, Blake, and some asshole I don't have anything to say to.
My addiction to pain pills for pain relief is out of control.
Also, in an unprecedented development tonight, not only is Blake drunk, but so is John.
Welcome aboard, matey.
So, we're going to end this one off right, I guess. And I'll be your designated driver for the evening. Oy, 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 oy. God damn it, John.
Eat shit.
I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and say, since we're in the last couple episodes, we've been having to redact things that we said that we were liking about studios and movies and things. I'm going to go ahead and say right now that whenever it comes out in the near future, as I'm sure it will, this guy eats children or something in his basement or whatever the fuck this weirdo does, that Blake and I fought this for fucking years. Yeah. John's the one that just had to watch this guy's movie.
I think that this guy sneaks into chicken coops at night and eats eggs.
Just whole, just like a snake.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, he's the new hotness in the bad movie realm. You know, it's our duty to watch this film.
No. I told my wife. I told her, I said, I've seen a lot of bad shit in my day. But those people knew they were making bad shit. Yeah, what we saw today was mental illness edited into movie form.
Oh, yeah. I was going to, okay. I usually have some kind of opening, little bit or thing that I go into when we start this, and I couldn't pick which one to do. I thought, this isn't just a movie. This is a man's deep dive into madness put on celluloid. Or I was going to come out making fun of you guys, say how dare you make fun of this developmentally handicapped man trying to make a movie? I really didn't know what angle to take.
Honestly, he's delusional for sure. I don't know if he's mentally challenged in any kind of way. I think he's actually
something's not clicking there, dude.
Well, something's weird. He's got some kind of problem with his ego or something, but
dude,
he's definitely not human.
He's okay.
He's the thing that Mr. Burns turns into when he's all hopped up on the drugs.
Neil Breen is one of two things. He's either a shape-shifting reptilian alien.
Yeah.
Or two, he was touched by a priest. One of the two, maybe both.
Both, yeah.
I do know one thing, this man is a virgin.
Yes, he's never had sex before. That's true. Yes.
He's never touched a woman until this movie.
Well, he might think that's what sex is. Wrapped around a woman naked like a tarantula inside of a garbage bag. That might be sex to him.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see Under the Skin, that Scarlett Johansson movie?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm too busy watching this shit.
Oh man, this reminded me of a really incompetent, stupid version of Under the Skin.
Well, speaking of Under the Skin, how old is this man?
In this movie, he was 54 years old.
Okay, because his skin looks like if he just knocked a chair the wrong way with his arm, he'd have to get a tourniquet.
It looked like a smaller person was wearing him.
Yes.
Yeah. It was very odd. His face is kind of melty. He looks like the pale man from Pan's Labyrinth in the face.
Well, that's all the Botox in his face.
But his hands are so smooth. He's got these youthful hands. Got city hands.
Money.
He got money his whole life.
Got money your whole life. He got city hands, Mr. Hooper.
Well, I know he was an architect before he became a filmmaker.
Oh, of course he was.
Sure.
but not a city planner.
What is an architect but an art school dropout with a tilty desk?
He might know math and shit.
God damn it.
I gotta say, I'm really happy. Like, I love this. Of course you are. I loved it. It was super weird.
Oh, weird. Yeah, like if that's what you're going for, yeah. But like I said, usually these things are self-aware. No, this guy was out to make like his Citizen Kane.
No, exactly, and that's what I find so fascinating. That's like that's the paragon of bad movies. That's what you want. Like if you got,
but what's crazy is he thinks he did it.
Yeah,
he does. He thinks very highly of himself,
and it's
which
shocking.
I kind of love. I kind of love it.
And there are times in the movie where I see that where I can see like there's one that just sent me off the fucking rails. We'll get to it when we discuss it, but it's like I can tell he thinks that he's a fucking genius, and I was
watching it again. I made it like over halfway through it before we started, and I think I know which part you're talking about.
I must have missed that part because I saw no strokes of genius here. What one could think was strokes of genius.
It's not strokes of genius. I could just tell that this is what some dipshit would think is. And earlier when we were talking, I was calling him a hack director. I think even saying a hack director is too good a thing because a hack director has to have the wherewithal to make hackney decisions.
I don't know if I'd call him a hack. Like I'd call like Brett Ratner. I'd call a hack. Like this guy, it's like something else. I don't know.
It's mental illness.
Yeah. A Dilophosaurus is what you call it.
This man ate Dennis Nedry.
Okay. Can we start? Does anybody have anything to say?
I got one thing real quick because today is kind of a sad day. We had to say goodbye to the capra. That's goat in Italian. Ennio Morricone died today.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude.
Now I'm sad.
If you don't know the name, you know the music. So like, he composed the scores of all the like greatest spaghetti westerns of all time.
Okay.
Man with No Name, Once Upon a Time in the West, The Great Silence. He also did like The Thing, Days of Heaven, The Mission, Untouchables, Cinema Paradiso. He has like over 520 composer credits on his name.
Well, let's raise a glass to him.
Yeah.
I'll raise my Ozarka water. Somebody's got to steer this goddamn ship.
Riposare in pace to Ennio. I had to learn a lot of Italian for this. That's a rest in peace in Italian.
Okay.
Now that we got, the respectful stuff out of the way. Fateful Findings.
Buckle the fuck up, you guys.
Where no cars have license plates.
I was happy about that, though. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. He knew we were going to have some bullshit questions, so.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. Okay, here, I'm just going to launch into this goddamn train wreck. We open in the storage facility with a long tracking shot that I'm sure this talentless ass thinks is just artsy as fuck.
Honestly, I was like, this shot, I was like, oh, is this going to have, like, some style?
God damn. No, it's not. We go down the hallway and we settle on this little table with this ancient tome that's like a foot thick. And just like that, we're in the friggin' mountains. Of course.
I thought it was like the beginning of like an old Disney movie.
Oh my God, that would have been amazing. Yeah.
It's going to open up with like his big stupid fish head is on the first page.
Yeah. waiting for like RKO Productions or whatever to pop up, whatever it is.
So a couple of kids are roughhousing and running through the field, and they cross by a ram skull that starts watching them pass. Jesus Christ, already.
Yeah, dude. Already?
They find a mushroom that slowly transmogrifies into a purse. And there's
and it was just a portobello cap. Just sitting on some pine needles.
Yep. There's a little pile of Lucky Charms sitting next to it for no reason whatsoever, and then a ghost floats by. This little fart poof of a ghost.
Of course, my dumb ass was also thinking like, oh, maybe this has some sort of meaning, like it's a psychedelic mushroom and it's gonna take us on a journey.
Jesus
no,
Christ.
Not at all.
So they open up the purse, and there's a little treasure box inside. And the girl says, "Oh, it's a magical day." And they open up the box, and they pull out a D20 or some shit out of it. And the girl says that, "Oh, we can't leave the box empty because it's bad luck." And the boy says, "I'm not afraid of that, you dumb old girl." And they bury the box back into the mushroom without putting anything back in it. And the girl picks up the Lucky Charms and says, "I'm going to make a bracelet out of these." And then they take their little notebook and they write, "It's a magical day" in their dumb fuck journal, and scamper back into the woods where they spawned. And the purse turns into a mushroom again.
And it never gets any more comprehensible.
Goddamn ghost farting mushroom box movie.
Dude, oh my god. And then, okay, so like I gotta touch on this. I mean, this is all incredible. And then to top it all off, whenever I pause it, because it's on Pornhub.
Yes.
Oh god, I know. I already know.
Like an ad comes up with like a cartoon dick getting jerked off or something. Oh my god, it was like extra funny.
Well, whenever I paused it, it was like just a chick covered in jizz, and I was like, oh, nice.
on the Pornhub note, if this movie had 2 to 3 hardcore sex scenes, it'd be right at home.
Oh, for sure.
This had all the makings of a porno, just without the porn in it. I'm not convinced that these actors weren't hired thinking they were going to do a porno.
I don't know, man. This whole thing there's way more questions than answers.
Definitely. I mean, I found as much as I could out about everybody, but
so later, Leah, the little girl's parents, rush her to the car because they don't want to miss their plane, and Dylan, the little boy, runs up and hugs her goodbye. They drive away in their plateless car as Dylan waves to them. And Dylan, now all grown up in a voiceover, and it's Neil fucking Breen, he explains that Leah's dad got transferred, so they had to move. And I never saw her again. That's bullshit.
You can't say that. You can't say that when she comes up later, motherfucker.
Well, maybe he wasn't narrating.
He's narrating in the present time of the movie?
Yeah, exactly. Like he's yeah. It wasn't a narration for the whole movie. It's just a narration for that part.
Does he even narrate any other parts?
Because it's like, also the only part in the movie that he narrates.
No.
Yeah.
It's not like the Wonder Years or some shit.
So we cut to his big dumb fish head as he walks down the sidewalk on the phone. And a woman picks up and she's talking to him on the other line. I guess we only get her side of the conversation, and it's really weird. He waits at the crosswalk for the light to change. Starts. A rare moment where he decides not to speak. He waits for the light to change so he can cross. He starts to cross, and he drops his Nintendo DS of a phone on the ground and stops to pick it up. When slammo, he's run down by a Rolls Royce, and it just kind of scoots him off the screen.
And this, I'm going to tell you now, that pissed me off. The car pissed me off. Because we had just left a flashback where this old man was a child. And the girl drove away in a brand new Lexus. And then he got hit by a 80s model Rolls Royce. You can't have the car in the flashback be newer than the current car that just hit you.
the cars too, like there's a Ferrari in the...
It should have been like the Blade Runner car or something that hit him.
Yeah. Doc Brown should have jumped out with those crazy glasses and said, "Great Scott!"
I see what you're saying. But the cars in this movie are really distracting because like they're all super expensive cars.
Yeah,
so but like they're past their prime super expensive cars.
It's like this is like the Transformers of pretentious dog shit C-grade movies. It's like just like expensive cars everywhere.
Luckily, there's only 2 cars in the movie, or 3 cars.
Yeah, there's 3 cars.
So the woman on the other end of the phone calls out to Dylan, fearing something horrible's happened, and a crowd gathers around. And some woman gets out of the Rolls Royce and saunters over. The crowd bustles around his lifeless body asking, "Is he okay? Is he breathing? It was the Rolls Royce that hit him. I saw it. I'm a witness."
And for some reason, the phone's bleeding all over the place.
Yeah, there's an unreasonable amount of blood. It's like all over the car, all over the phone. And he's got like a gash in his eyebrow or something.
Yeah.
So, Dylan's fingers start to twitch as he reaches for his phone before going limp again. And the woman from the Rolls Royce in her hooker heels walks up and reaches down and puts the little D20 in his hand. And the little fart smoke piffs across the screen. And they put him on a gurney. And they're not really in any hurry to help this man. And also, I don't think these are professional paramedics because they're wearing jeans and Vans.
Yeah.
So he's showing like these crowds of people just from like the thighs down. Everyone's just feet for some reason. I swear these paramedics are just like guys from the crowd that he just gave white coats to. Yeah. Same shoes.
And they're dragging around a oxygen tank on a handcart behind them. Yeah. That's not how that works. Which I got plenty to say about oxygen tanks coming up. Jesus Christ.
So, establishing shot of an emergency room that I'm sure they weren't allowed to film in. As some random guy calls asking if Dylan's okay and that he'll be there as fast as he can. All the fucking while, the goddamn Shire theme is being played on a fife in the background.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
Half the soundtrack of this movie is the Shire theme from Lord of the Rings.
Well, we could ask him why, because he's the one that did it. But
yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, I don't believe that he can compose this music. Like, I just straight up don't believe it. Like, maybe he paid for it or something. So he put music by Neil Breen because he paid for it. I don't know.
God. So Dylan lays in a hospital bed with apparatus all hooked up to him, and his wife shows up, and his friend arrive, and they weep at the sight of him. The doctor says that it doesn't look good. He tells him that the director of neurology will be in to see him in a few minutes. And then a woman enters, the second doctor, and she's got the Lucky Charm bracelet on from earlier that we saw. And she takes his pulse. Shit. She takes his pulse and gives her full diagnosis just from the pulse.
Yeah.
And the other doctor tells him that you need to not stay too long because he needs his rest. So they leave.
This doctor's bedside manner fucking sucks. Like, His wife was like freaking out. He's like, no, he can't hear you. His brain's all fucked up from getting hit by a car.
He's basically dead, dummy. So they leave, and the second doctor, the woman, comes in for a brief moment, and then the wind picks up, and Dylan opens his hand to reveal the D20, and his eye snaps open, and he rips out his IVs, which are just tubes taped to his wrist.
Okay, let me explain this whole fucking thing.
He yanks off his oxygen mask, which also has a breathing tube under it, which is on top of about 2 solid inches of gauze. So none of that's doing anything. This whole thing
makes zero sense. His IVs are oxygen tubes, just underneath tape.
Yes.
There's nothing going through them.
Nope.
All the tanks in the background, they're not pressurized. You can see that because they show the dials for some reason to show that they're all on zero. So he pulls off that, and then when he's got the oxygen mask over his bandages. So he takes the mask off, which wasn't necessary because they had the little nose tube that's just sitting on top of the bandages. So there was no reason for any of this. And then when he gets up out the bed, the bandages over his face, it looks like a bad Squidward cosplay.
Yeah. I was going to say, it looks like he's got a jockstrap on his face.
When he stood up out of that bed, I just went, oh, SpongeBob.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
He was a doctor, he's an architect, not a doctor. He doesn't know.
And I don't know why we had to see his bare ass like the Indian on Wayne's World either.
I was saying, when he got up and he was like slowly just like shuffling away like a zombie, I said, it'd be kind of funny if his ass was just hanging out, and it wasn't at first. And then it kind of just popped open and he just kept walking.
I could see where that would be a good choice if Neil Breen was a fucking unit, but he's not.
He's just an old man with like a completely smooth body.
Just an old dude's ass hanging out the back of it. Like there was that was for nobody but himself.
Oh yeah. Man. So fucking funny. And then he walks out the door and he's done a green screen shot because like the hospital bed is clearly like just in a corner of his house.
Yes.
He's done a green screen shot where the angle doesn't match up. He's walked out into like a hospital hallway and it's all like it's like a fun house in there.
Well, the big clue that this wasn't an ER room was there was carpet in the room.
Yeah.
As I said, establishing shot of ER, they were not allowed to film in.
No. Can you imagine if an ER floor was carpet? How nasty that would be? Just blood, guts, entirely ass all over the place.
So he shambles out, and then we get just a shot of feet, and it's like dress shoes and black slacks, walks back into the room and then teleports away. And
my theory is that this is the specter of death. It's death himself. And he came in to get him, but he had already left. He's like, fuck.
That's all it takes is to give death the slip?
Yeah, you gotta wander out of the hospital before death shows up.
So, cut to his patient gown on the floor and bloody gauze laying next to it. As the shower turns on, he's back home. The woman doctor goes back into the hospital the room and sees that he's gone. So she calls the other doctor to let him know that the patient's missing. Back at Dylan's house, his wife wakes up in bed to the sound of him taking a shower, and holy hell, he's losing a lot of blood.
This motherfucker's on his period or something.
So they didn't stitch him up whenever they put him in the hospital?
Just fresh blood just pouring down his leg.
They just put with that big fucking Depends on his head and called it a day. So she gets up, she calls out to him, asking, why are you home already? And she gets in the shower with him, ankle deep in his pool of blood. Disgusting. He says that he let himself out early, and he asks her to help him. And they hold each other in the shower, and it's just awful. It's so uncomfortable to watch. She's wearing this translucent nightgown. He's bare-ass naked, and they're like shimmying back and forth, just threatening to show off his saggy old balls.
I can't believe how close I got to seeing his dick.
This is where I knew that this man has never touched a woman. He was like stiff-armed out, like the middle school dance where you had to like, yeah, and just whatever anytime he kissed a girl, it made me like dry heave.
It was super fucked up.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's never kissed a woman before.
No, he's like human affection custom go.
Yeah. Why don't you try practicing in the mirror there, Grimlock, or whatever the fuck your name is?
So, we cut, and they're both in bed together. His head's still wrapped up in the same bandages, not wet or ruined from the shower or the gallons of blood gushing out of his face.
It's plaster, man.
Later, or like also when he transitions from scene to scene, he makes no attempt to even hint at time passing. People are just in people in the scene, you're looking at them, it cuts and they're still in the shot in a completely different locale, different time of day. Every single goddamn scene transition.
Another thing, let me tell you something about this piece of work. The sideburns on this man.
The entire hair situation is pretty spectacular.
Like, who the hell do you think you are? Showing up with those sideburns.
He thinks he's like casual Elvis.
Jesus Christ.
The sideburns weren't supposed to actually be like that. It's just, his ill-fitting latex old man suit that he's wearing over his reptilian body just kind of sags down too much.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
He's like the bug on the first Men in Black.
It's true. That's what he looks like.
Yeah. So, later, his wife gets on the phone with the doctor, the woman doctor from earlier, telling her that he seems to be fine and he's back to work on his next book. Cut to Dylan at his desk and let the acting begin.
Oh.
Yes.
He grabs his head in pain as if he's being psychically attacked and starts slapping at his many, many laptops as they all crash to the ground. He's got like 8 laptops on his desk.
He was getting a message from his homeworld, Melmac.
Oh, and all those laptops, not a one of them turned on. Ever.
Ever.
How many times is he going to throw the laptops throughout the fucking movie, though?
He hates these fucking laptops.
He hates the laptops and his books. But for some reason, throwing papers in the air really fucking gets him going.
He loves that shit.
Execute human fit of rage.
Oh,
Tell you
man.
what, that dude's got a big fetish for throwing paper around.
I mean, it really gives Tommy Wiseau's, room destruction scene a run for its money. He's coming for Tommy Wiseau's, whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think even Tommy Wiseau... Oh, wait, hold up. I think even Tommy Wiseau would think that this guy is fucking bonkers.
Maybe?
Probably.
Maybe.
I would love to hear.
I can't do a good Tommy Wiseau voice, but I'm sure he's like, stay away from this guy.
So then, after he throws his little fit, he's immediately on the phone complaining about deadlines and how he's not signing anything and to not call him again. And he turns around and all the laptops have replenished. And it's like, I think Does he think when he types up a book on one laptop, it's used up and he has to get a new one? It's like disposable cameras. So he says that he has a master's degree in computer science, and he turned out to be a damn writer of novels, and that's all coming to an end.
I know.
Yeah, he's pissed.
You're the one that did it, asshole. Why are you mad?
Idiots! He accidentally wrote a novel? The fuck are you talking about?
So, but he says that's all coming to an end now. Cut to his friend's house, where his friend Jim is getting boozed up. He offers his wife a drink, and she refuses. And he complains that they don't have sex anymore, and that she says that she's very busy, and my back hurts, and the office at the bank is like having a major problem. Plus, I can't find my bra, and all I have to wear is this ill-fitting shirt.
No ladies were allowed to wear bras. No bra set. So, Neil Breen is to bras what Christopher Nolan is to chairs.
Jim's daughter, the woman's stepdaughter, is listening in, and he says that, well, maybe she should overhear all this so she doesn't make the same mistakes. I don't know what that means.
So she isn't a frigid bitch to her husband.
This woman is awful.
So the woman calls him a bastard, and he stomps away, and the stepdaughter runs and throws herself onto her bed upset. Back at Dylan's office.
Hold on. This just hit me. Is it his daughter?
Yes.
Yes.
But he doesn't. It's not like a father-daughter dynamic.
No. But it is.
Yeah, so I was wondering, like, is it her stepdaughter just for some reason she's got custody?
I think he like married some woman just so she could take care of his daughter because he didn't feel like it or something. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know. It was just, it was very confusing to me.
Yeah, because I thought that she was the woman's daughter at first, and then they said stepdaughter, and I got confused.
Yeah.
I said, is she both their stepdaughters? Is that possible?
I mean, I guess if the biological parents are fucked up enough, I don't know.
Some situation where there were two step parents involved, and then they broke up, and then the two step parents got together and like stole the kid or something.
Maybe a listener who practices family law can clue us in on this.
How is it possible?
Yeah, is it possible for two step parents to have custody of a non-biological child? $100. I got $100 that says yup.
So, back at Dylan's office, he realizes his pills are missing, and so he starts randomly clacking away on the laptop like a human does. And his wife says, "God damn it." It was big dick typing. Did we explain that on the air? I can't remember that.
No, that was after after the show.
I don't think we did. Explain it, John.
Quick sidebar to explain big dick typing.
It's important.
It's nothing to it. I'm just over here typing, and I'm like hammering on my keyboard apparently. And the guys are giving me shit, so I tell them that's just big dick typing.
So now, whenever you accidentally text someone or email someone all caps and they call you out on it, you just say, "Hey, that's just big dick typing."
Yeah.
That's our thing. We started it.
That's right.
Officially.
Okay, so he realizes his pills are missing. Big dick typing. His wife says that she'll get his pills for him, and she goes and she gets the pills out the cabinet and she pockets a few first before tossing the bottle to him. And he looks at the pills and he immediately says, "I don't need these pills," like a fucking psycho, and goes and dumps them in the toilet, but doesn't flush.
This is so insane. It's like,
okay, two things that were fucking psycho about this. He puts the pills in and doesn't flush, and then he just throws the bottle on the ground next to the toilet and walks away.
He just lets it. He doesn't even throw it on the ground. He just lets it fall out of his hand wherever.
What a crazy person!
Fuck these pills.
And then she goes digging them out of the toilet, and I really wanted her to swallow the pills right out the toilet, but she didn't.
How much you want to bet that's his actual personal toilet she had to dig around in?
I know one thing: that thing was not clean.
No.
There's poopy smears in there.
It was a dirty toilet.
Yeah.
Like, he could have run the brush across that before the camera did.
Oh my god. I'm like, this shit had me rolling, man. I was like laughing so hard at this movie.
He is a reptile. He probably doesn't use a toilet. He like goes and climbs a tree and shits on a branch or something.
What's that thing a bird has? Like a cloaca?
A cloaca, yeah. He just spreads his cloaca and just sprays it out wherever. So, the mysterious wind kicks up again, and the D20 rock tumbles out of a random file on his desk and rolls into his hand. And we cut to the suburban Sasquatch cave where Dylan's sitting there naked again. Jesus Christ. And the amount of times we had to see him totally naked in this movie.
You don't want to see more of this fucking Greek god of a man?
This bag of a man.
What old music video? What did like a Metallica music video that had like an old naked dude on it? I'm gonna have to look that up.
I don't know. Maybe. So he comes to from his dream, and his wife asks him, "Where were you just now?" And he says that he feels like something's inside him. And she asks,
"Gross."
She asks him if he took his pills. You just watched him throw them in the shitter.
And you just took them out of the shitter.
You have
goddamn well he didn't take his fucking pills.
So Dylan heads to his psychotherapist, Dr. Lee's office, and they sit together in a boardroom, like where you have a boardroom meeting, with this long ass table, them on either end. That's how you do a psychotherapy session, right?
Tell you what though, they were not on either end. Because they'd film Neil Breen sitting there, then they'd cut away, and the doctor would be sitting in the same seat.
Yeah.
So they try to make it look like they were sitting across the table, but the little the cabinet next to him gave it away.
Pesky cabinet. So Dr. Lee tells him that he knows he's having trouble with his second book, and that he's offered to help, to give him medication to help, and Dylan says that he's feeling less stable, and just fucking leaves.
Yeah.
The doctor never gives him any kind of advice. He's like, I want to help you. I think I can help you. Do you need medication? He never says anything useful.
That's the advice. Take these pills because you're a fucking crazy person.
Yeah.
Got some
I'm starting to think that
heavy
this is just like...
antipsychotics.
This was like just guerrilla footage from his actual therapy session.
Yeah. So, back at his office, he tells who the fuck ever on the phone that he needs more time and hangs up. And he's got his goddamn coffee cup sitting on the keyboard of his laptop like a goddamn animal. His wife's doing the dishes when he has another psychic attack, but in the middle of his psychic attack, he decides, I need a sip of coffee, and picks it up, and he's holding it over the laptop going, whoa, whoa, whoa. But then he passes out, and the coffee mug lands upright on the laptop, so it was a big tease. So he's laying there moaning, and then he comes to, and he starts licking his lips, thinking of that tasty, tasty coffee. He tries to take a drink, and in his weakened state, he spills it all over his face and starts moaning sexually again.
Oh no, my coffee! I accidentally spilled it by accident.
I expected him while he was laying there with his face in it to just start sucking it off the table.
I thought that it just proved that coffee wasn't hot because, I mean, his face was all in it and he didn't even flinch.
The scene was like 2 minutes long.
Oh, look. Everything in this movie took too long.
Just watching him splash around in this puddle of fucking coffee.
Everything took too long. Whenever people would walk, they walked too slow. We know who was given direction. He was forcing these people to talk slow and loud.
Yes.
And it was like, they delivered their lines a few times. He was like, no, slower and louder.
Yeah.
And they do it again.
It's not the usual direction. Let's do another one, but a little faster, a little more energy. No, slower
and louder.
Picture as if you're dead.
You're giving directions to a foreigner. Slower and louder.
It's it's like super. It's unique. It's undeniably like a Neil Breen movie. I think.
Is that more Italian vocabulary? Unique means fucking batshit.
I mean, in this case, yes.
So, cut to Jim's house again, and he's in his garage polishing up his Ferrari, and like Mike said, it's like a 1991 Ferrari,
if that.
His wife Amy comes in and complains that he spends more time with his car than he does with her, and she accuses him of rather being in the garage than spending time with her, and he agrees. So she hurls a roll of brawny at him.
Well, I was kind of with him on that because she said she didn't want to get busy. So go to the next best thing, the Ferrari in the garage.
Yeah, I mean, this shit, like, the last time we saw them, he was like, how come we don't have sex? And she's like, fuck you. And then he goes and messes with his car.
Yeah.
And then she comes in and is like, hey, how come we don't have sex? And he's like, what?
At least this car responds when I touch it.
So after that little interaction,
you ever seen that dude that has sex with his car on that show?
What?
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
like the people that are in love with inanimate objects, and the dude's like, it's like a shitty car too. It's like a Pontiac Sunfire or some shit. The dude's like laying under it, just spooging all over it.
Wait.
Is it My Weird Obsession or
yeah, I think
which
so.
show was okay?
Dude's like straight up humping a Sunfire.
Yeah, he had a sexual relationship with a car.
Yeah.
Sweet Jesus.
You can probably find it on Pornhub. It's probably in the recommended thing when you're watching Fatal Findings.
I'll tell you something. Highly erotic.
So, Dylan's wife calls Amy and Jim and invites them over for dinner. And Amy says, oh, that'd be great. We could really use the break. Dylan's wife says, great. See you right now. Instantly cut to everyone sitting down at the dinner table. So they have a conversation, and I swear none of these lines were juxtaposed this way in the script. There was probably 10 times the amount of dialogue, and he picked some random sentences and backed them up to each other and said, human conversation.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It had pangs of like Born into Mafia to me, the dialogue.
For sure.
Where it was just non sequitur, just lines that kind of make his conversation.
There's like one part that made sense, but it was so weird. It was when he asks, what's her name, Allie, about school, and she says she has a project. And her dad is like, he doesn't want to hear about your stupid fucking project. Yeah. And then he's like, no, I want to hear about her project.
Yeah. Yeah, he has our school. He goes, oh, I've got this really cool project about African elephants. Jim says, oh, not again with the goddamn elephants. Nobody gets
these elephants.
So that's what he says, I want to hear. She gets pissed off and she stomps away. And then Dylan's head starts pounding again.
I can't get this one to take off her shirt, and this one's always talking about the goddamn elephants.
It's a madhouse.
The only one that really loves me is my Ferrari.
So later, Dylan's back in his office, and he's throwing random junk around, and he's pissed off because I've got so much to do I'll never get done. And it takes even longer because I won't turn my laptops on. And he says that he's gonna keep hacksawing into the government systems so he can see what he can find out about all this national and international corruption he knows going on.
Oh man. So I know I know corruption and like vague sort of shit like that is like in every single one of his movies, so I was wondering when it was gonna pop up. 30 minutes. Took 30 minutes for him to mention corruption, and it comes out of nowhere.
So, cut to Amy and Jim's house, where they're both in bed, and they lay awake awkwardly and scene. Cut to Dylan's wife on the phone, and she tells whoever's on the other end that he stopped taking his meds. Can you get some for me? And she sounds drugged out, so this is where I'm starting to assume that she's taking the meds. Little do I know how right I am.
You didn't have that first clue when she dug him out of the can?
No, I thought she wanted him to take them, so she was getting them. She was gonna like start slipping them to him to make him not crazy.
You don't know any junkies, do you?
So, back at Dr. Lee's, he insists that Dylan take these meds, but Dylan says nay. He doesn't find these sessions rewarding anymore. Scene! Back at Dylan's, he argues with his wife that he's given it his all. They've been through the good, they've been through the bad, and there you have the facts of life. Yes. And he says that she's taking the pills for pain relief, and it's gotten out of hand. So she is taking the pills. I thought it was bad acting. He demands that she go into rehab, and she says that she knows she's dependent on them, but she'd be lost without them.
So when did the addiction start? Like, did she start taking his pills from the accident, or was it from before then?
Look, when you mail order me from Irkutsk, you know I had a pill problem.
Said it on the form.
Yes. It said, house strained, yes. Pill problem, yes.
It's like $100 off if they've got a pill problem.
Gotta get that 50% ruble discount. So she refuses to go to rehab. Hours, minutes, seconds later, who could know? Dylan's working on his laptop again. And we know that because he tells us that. I have to work now. Clack, 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 clack.
I like how he says, I support you. He keeps saying that, I support you. You know I support you. I have to work now.
He's on the couch with his laptop. She's on the opposite couch. And he just goes, I have to do my work now. Click, 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 click. So she yells out, my job sucks. And I don't think they knew that they were rolling at this point. This is just her talking about the movie. Dylan says that he's going to change the world with the information that he's hacked into. They have no idea.
No one knows.
She says that she needs stronger medication to cope with all this bank crap. And he tells her that it's a crutch and to straighten your life out. He says that you're not the same girl.
For some reason, that made me laugh. The way he delivered that line made me laugh. It's like he had been so calm, and then it's a crutch.
He says that you're not the same girl on the pills. I want that old girl back. And she says, well, she's not coming back. And he yells at her, talk to me. And they hold hands, and that's the scene. Cut to his office. She comes and says, I'm done talking with you.
What the fuck happened?
He grabs her, whips her around, and casually just nudges the laptops to the floor where they disintegrate on impact.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was like he was trying not to break them, but they still just completely exploded.
Well, he's thrown them 50 times in the movie already.
Yeah. So he tosses his papers in the air, and they start ripping at each other's shirts, and he's flipping the papers in the air some more. It really gets them going.
Yeah,
And
like her shirt's off, and you're still just grabbing the papers, smiling like a jackass, throwing them in the air.
It's so weird. Like the face he makes when he's throwing the paper around is like when a shitty magician executes the prestige. He's like, ta-da!
So they take their clothes off, and he forces this poor woman to mush all over his weird body. He goes to a different psychotherapist, and what a contrast in offices.
Some real professional
This
shit
one's
right
about
here.
a 3x3 foot room with 2 folding chairs. Their knees are like intertwined with each other, sitting there.
Well, see,
staring
this
at
was showing the duality of the United States healthcare system.
So this new woman tells him that he was given the power of the wind and to be careful because they will harm you. And then he says, "You know about it?" And she says that they want what he has. "I never asked for this." "Well, it was meant for you." Back home, he stares into a mirror and walks away, but his mirror image stays there.
I didn't even notice that.
How'd he do that trick?
Was that the part that you thought he was so proud of himself for?
No, it's still coming.
Oh, okay.
So, back at Jim and Amy's, they load up on pills and wine, and Amy apologizes to Jim for letting him down. And he says that they should start over.
No. He just like comes into the room and lays on the bed, and she's like, "I'm sorry."
Hey, she apologized. This is an
I
apology.
mean, I guess.
This is where, like, the full of slower and louder really, like, with her, took off.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, yo, the homegirl's got like bipolar disorder or something. Like, she's not all there.
Yeah, he says that I think we should start over. And she says, "I think I'm beyond that now." And I don't think she thinks of much. He says that he's going to go and get some air, and he storms out. Meanwhile, that person in black, I guess, which is death, phases through the door of a house, and that's it.
Fuck your
for
door.
him.
Death
back
is
at
here. Knock, knock.
Back at Dylan's office, his wife comes in and asks him to come to bed, but he says, "I have too much to do, and I need you to go away right now. I have so much to do. I'm sorry. I need you to go away now. I'm sorry. I have so much to do. I'm
Jesus
sorry. I just need you to go away right now. I'm sorry. I need you to go. I have so much to do. I'm sorry."
That was this whole damn movie.
That's how this fucker talks. Later, she asks him if he's having an affair. He denies it, and she says that he's just frustrated with writing. "But I haven't told you the truth." And he says that "I haven't been writing a novel. I've been hacking into government and international secrets all over the world." You told her that yesterday.
I will start using that as my go-to excuse around the house. "Hey, did you do the dishes? I've been hacking into government and international secrets all over the world." And then I'm gonna start throwing shit.
And then she has this huge reaction, like, "This is so dangerous. Are you crazy? Was this scene out of sequence or something?"
No, not for this consummate professional. Surely they would have caught that.
Oh, so
Technically, okay, so I did watch this scene twice. Technically, he didn't tell her that he was hacking into secrets. He just said he was getting information.
Oh, fuck you.
Slippery bastard.
I had a similar note, though, the first time through. I was like, you just told her this.
So, cut back to the Sasquatch cave, where that fat-ass book is sitting, and a new Dylan walks up and opens it up. Scene. Back at Dylan's, His wife suggests that they invite Jim and his family over for a nice American G.I. Joe barbecue.
Yeah, because it went so well last time.
Cut immediately to the barbecue. And there's Foley noises, like there's dozens of people there, but there's like 6 people there max.
Yeah.
It's that classic thing.
Yeah.
It's like all the worst filmmakers do this.
Yeah. The woman doctor from earlier shows up with her fiance Tim because they were invited too somehow.
Well, Tim lost his nuts a long time ago.
I got a note on that too.
I was like, why would she be invited? He never saw her.
No.
She didn't treat him.
Nope. She wasn't his patient. Nothing.
Dr. Toupee didn't get invited.
Well, yeah, he doesn't have tits.
But who invited her? Did his wife invite her?
I don't know.
Maybe the fucking ghost.
That was a big mistake.
Or whatever the hell it is.
So they introduced themselves several times with the same soundbite. Tim excuses himself, and Amy takes her cell phone out of her pocket and accidentally drops this huge notepad that's jammed in there too. Dylan picks it up and sees the open page with "It's a magical day" written on it, and they instantly recognize each other. And and the doctor says, I can't believe it's you. I didn't even think to look at the name on the chart at the hospital. You know, professional doctor we're dealing with here.
Yeah, exactly.
It's only at the top of the fucking chart. Yeah. They discreetly hold hands, and Dylan tells her that he thinks about her every day. Every day. And she says that I think of you too. And Dylan's wife spots them from across the pool, and they quickly pull their hands away from each other. Then Tim walks up with the drinks, and he toasts to new friends and old friends, and finding each other and becoming a major cuckold. Dylan takes this opportunity to tell his wife that I've known her since I was 8 years old.
That was like the creepiest line in the movie.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
well,
fuck. Because there's at least a 20-year difference in age between these two people.
Considering her age and your age, you knew her when she was 8 and you were 47?
Nah, man, he just got city miles on him, that's all. But, like, it's like the guys never had a normal conversation. Because, you know, the way a normal person would have written that would be like, oh, holy shit, I know you. Like... It would be more of a surprise. And like if I was married to somebody and then I stumbled across someone that I knew I was 8 years old, I'd be like, hey, you know this? You know where I know her from? Like it would be more of a conversation, not I knew her since she was 8 years old.
He wouldn't whisper it into his wife's ear, like super creepy.
God, dude.
I've known her since she was 8 years old.
When she was only 8 rotations of the Earth around the Earth's sun.
I knew her in her larval stage.
So they all sit down and have poolside drinks, and Dylan's wife's just staring daggers at Dr. Leah, and Jim, drunk, starts pawing all over Dylan's wife.
Good for you, Jim.
You get some.
Before accidentally knocking down all the corn to no effect at all.
That was pretty sad, though.
He knocks over the corn, and it's just a shot of like his waist down, and you just see his hands just go kind of like, wow.
Corn is my favorite part of the barbecue. I'm sorry.
Yes, corn is delicious. So they all have one last drink as Dylan's rubbing up against Leah some more. Back in the office, and I swear these laptops are multiplying like rabbits. Dylan reviews his papers, and he hears Jim's stepdaughter splashing around in his pool. So he looks out the window and sees her taking her bikini top off. And she glances over her shoulder and sees him watching and calls out to him. And she immediately leaves the pool. She got like ankle deep in the pool, took her top off, and then left. That was a nice swim.
How old is this girl supposed to be?
Not old enough.
No, I mean, she's doing projects on elephants and shit. She brought over her macaroni art and her fucking turkey she made out of her handprint.
So she goes into their house and starts drawing up a bubble bath, and she takes the bubble solution and starts pouring it directly down the drain.
I didn't know that this was a housewarming party that she showed up to.
So
that's a big time callback right there.
Yeah.
Fucking carnage.
I've got a carnage callback in this too. We'll get to it.
Okay.
So he walks into the bathroom and she drops all of her clothes, and he grabs her and he grabs the clothes and he covers her up and he says that you have to stop doing this. Please don't do this anymore. And I don't know what this is. I don't know what's happening here.
I immediately felt awkward because she stares right into the camera as if to say, somebody fucking help me.
Yeah, she's just staring blankly, just as confused as I am about what the hell this scene has anything to do with anything.
Dude, it's an underage girl who can't help herself around this like Washington monument of a man.
Neil the Unit Breen.
Washington Monument, I'd say world's largest ball of yarn level.
Yeah.
Largest? I don't know.
I don't know, something gross.
Second largest.
He keeps just yelling at her, you can't do this anymore. You can't do this anymore. So he goes back to hacking the plant. He refuses
to elaborate on any of his positions on anything. Like, he still yells at her that she can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And doesn't explain that, like, if she doesn't stop, his ass is going to jail.
Yeah. And once again, a normal person would be like, hey, get the fuck out of here, you're 12.
Yeah. Not down.
Yeah. And I'm not picking up your towel for you. You get that yourself because look where my hands are.
Hands are up here.
Yeah. And get the hell out of here.
So he goes back to hacking the planet, and his wife comes in and questions why Allie was there. And he says that he caught her swimming topless in the pool and taking a bubble bath in our tub. And it's all your fault for inviting her to come over and swim in the pool anytime she wanted. And he gets all sassy with her.
I got it. Like, who would believe this story?
Oh, I know.
Yeah, this...
It wasn't me. This high school girl was all over me.
Yeah.
So his wife says, well, I'll call Amy and I'll let her know what happened. So she calls her up, and Amy apologizes and says that I'll tell Allie never to do it again.
It was all very, like, casual, though. Oh, I'll tell her not to do that again. When in reality, it'd be like, she did what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, these are two step-parents of a child that isn't theirs.
That they apparently don't want at all.
So, Jim comes in and starts ridiculing Amy. She tells him that what Allie's been doing, and Jim says that, it's your turn to watch her. Just, strengthening the argument that neither one of them want this kid.
Also strengthening the argument that this is supposed to be a small child.
Yes. She needs to be watched.
Exactly. You don't need a babysitter for a 20-year-old.
Yeah. So, he immediately lunges at his wife, and she tosses her drink on him, and he storms off to the garage to polish that side view mirror some more.
Well, not before he threw his drink on her, which he strategically splashed right on the tit.
Yeah.
Way to go, Jim.
Yeah. So, Amy goes to the bedroom and pulls a Glock out from under the mattress.
And cocks the gun in the most absurd fashion I've ever seen. I mean, the hand placement was all wrong. And why does it take, 8 entire seconds to pull back a slide?
Again, slower and louder.
Yeah.
Cinema.
So, Dylan arrives outside and knocks on the door when Amy goes into the garage and threatens to shoot Jim's car full of holes. And then Jim yells, "No!" And Amy shoots him dead. And Dylan hears the gunshot and starts banging on the door. Allie teleports into the garage in front of Amy and tells her, "You killed him." Totally deadpan.
Yeah.
Her father. She has a delayed reaction.
Yeah, her actual dad.
Yeah. She has a delayed reaction to her father being murdered by her stepmother, and Amy stops her from going to him and tells her that you know how he was. I need you to go and call 911. And Dylan barges in, and Amy at Jim's side says, "Oh no, he killed himself." And Dylan tells Amy, "Go call 911." And he cradles Jim in his arms. And here come the Oscars rolling in.
Oh my god, just give the man a fucking Oscar, please.
He gets Jim's blood all over his hands and wipes it all over his face like fucking Rambo or something. And he asks Jim's dead body, "How could you have committed suicide? And I can't help you out of this one, Jim. This is sure a pickle you got yourself into now."
That's the best line in the movie. Can't help you out of this one.
"With all we've been through, I can't pull you out of this one, Jim." He tells Jim goodbye as Amy calls up Emily. She calls Emily, Dylan's wife, instead of 911 to tell her that she drove Jim to suicide.
She's got her number programmed as 911 in her phone.
So Dylan warps back to his office, still questioning, "How could you have killed yourself, Jim? It's so not like you. Oh, I'm so drained.
He's never killed himself before."
"I'm so exhausted." And he passes out onto his forever dead laptop. Back into the Sasquatch nudity cave, but just for a second. And we're back in the living room with Dylan telling Emily that you can't blame yourself for Jim's suicide. What?
Yeah, why would she think that she was to blame?
Because
she fucking sociopath?
Because she stopped him from pawing at her by the barbecue pit.
Yeah, that's her excuse. She's popping pills the whole time. She says that I overreacted and I pushed him over the edge at the barbecue. It's all my fault, coupled with my and your marital problems at home.
Y'all ain't been around junkies, have y'all? This is all rational thinking.
She tells him that he's better off without her, but he throws his arms around her and he says, "No, I need you. We need to be together." Back in the office, Dylan gets on the phone again with this whoever it is, and he's arguing about deadlines some more, and he says that I'm not signing the book deal. I'm under no obligation to sign with you.
So we can agree that he's the villain of this movie, right? Like, he's 100% the villain. Like, every time he like says he supports his wife, he wants her to stop taking pills, and then every time it's like the very next scene, he's acting like an asshole. Tells her to get out of his fucking face. And, like, he's in his office hammering on his computer and angrily answering phones that never rang in the first place.
I'm busy in here destroying my computers.
Yeah. Oh. So, he's not signing the book deal. I won't give you the next book. No more books. Books bad. So... he has visions of him and Leah nude in Sasquatch's cave, and he wraps. He's like a fucking octopus, and he just wraps himself around her. And
it's so gross.
It is.
Are you kidding me? Like, I wish I could be taken into his clammy bones and pressed firmly against his little breasts.
His arms look like the what is it? The proto-xenomorph one.
In Covenant?
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He has the same body as that thing, for sure. Oh man, Chase, I don't know if you remember, in art school there was this real old dude who did nude modeling. I'm sure you remember this dude.
Why did you have to? I haven't thought of that in so long.
It's the same shit. It's like the same body. It's like the absolute most useless body to use for figure drawing. It's like got nothing to do with humanity.
Which one are we talking about? Drippy or butt plug?
Drippy.
See, that's why I couldn't have went to art school.
Oh, figure drawing. It changes you.
It'll do stuff to you.
You go into it thinking that it's going to be, you know, attractive naked people, but it's just all old men.
Look,
You get what you get.
When I sign my name on the little digital credit card thing, I always draw a penis. I can't imagine what I would do in a class like that.
I think out of the 4 years we were there, we had someone under 40 once.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it was mostly two old men over and over again.
It's a couple of old
plug,
guys.
apparently.
Named Drippy and Butt Plug, and I'll just let you draw the lines to figure out why they were nicknamed that.
No problem. I'm there.
He's transported.
Oh, God. Where the fuck was I? So, Emily comes into his office after he's having this little dream and tells him that she can't go on like this and flings a book into a stack of 45 laptops. And she says that she's losing her mind. So Dylan goes back to the new psychotherapist and tells her that he lost his true love when he was 9 years old. And she says that she's still with you in your heart and that she knows that that you're thinking of her spirit.
These are like the worst therapist ever.
Yeah. He shows her the D20 and that he kept it to remind him of her. And she asks about his dream of her and cut to the old psychotherapist begging him to increase his dosage. He refuses to increase the dosage, and the doctor asks him if are you really writing a book? Tell me what's going on here. And
he's like, are you seeing another psychiatrist?
Yeah, are you seeing another psychotherapist? And Dylan lies and says, no, there's no other therapist. I'm not seeing any other therapist, none. There's no second therapist that I saw right before you. No, there's no other therapist, none. And the doctor asks him, how's your research coming? And Dylan says, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, doctor. So
for somebody who's hacking in, finding out all about lies and everything, he should have tell a lot himself.
Yeah. Well, this is what happened. He was seeing this doctor who legitimately wants to help him. He's begging him to take these pills. And he doesn't want to get, sane. So he goes and finds this fucking quack that's going to blow smoke up his ass. And he loves her.
Who are you running from, Neil?
Himself.
Himself.
Back home, Emily's on the phone with Moscow, who knows, telling them that Dylan's writing about government secrets and not a novel at all, and that she's gonna she's giving him up. She's gonna get him shipped off to the gulag.
The betrayal. I think she was telling his therapist.
Yeah, it's revealed that she's talking to the first psychotherapist, and he asks her, "Can you tell me about Dylan's research?" And it's like, are they hinting at there actually is some kind of conspiracy here? No, they're absolutely not. So, meanwhile, Dylan meets up with Leah by a lake. And by meet up, I mean they stroll past each other and kind of say hi. And then walk about 6 feet away, stop, about face like they're going to duel or some shit, and then hug each other.
This is so weird.
I'm speechless. I have no idea what's going on.
She tells him that she broke up with Tim and the wedding's off. And that
Tim got red pilled out of Cuptown.
So he says that, there was always someone else ever since I was a kid. And he tells her that he loves her, and he always has since the day they found the black cube.
Oh, the black cube.
I was angry at this movie. Like, I'm still angry at it. But it was around this point in the movie where I started realizing that this could have been like anybody. If you don't have friends that say, hey, man, going a little too far. Like, if you don't have that check then you become Neil Breen. Because Lord knows I've gone down some weird fucking rabbit holes. But I've always had friends that say, hey man, back up a bit. And I'd say, okay, thanks friend. And then, you're on a straight and narrow again. But when you don't have anybody to check you, then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I am this generation's Alfred Hitchcock.
That's really sad to me. Like, you're probably right. Like, he's got no friends. Nobody that's like, God, Neil, like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
No, okay, I have all kind of crazy ideas. And I have friends that I bounce these ideas off of. And my friends are like, yeah, that's cool. Or sometimes they're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And, oh, okay, cool. Now I know. There's the line. I crossed it. No problem.
This is what it was. He was that friend in the group of friends that were the outcasts in school, but he was the one that even they were kind of like, just putting up with him.
See, what I'm trying to say is this could have been me. The government conspiracies, thank God I got to see a boob at a young age, but apparently that didn't happen for him.
No, still hasn't seen any.
No. Oh.
So he tells her that he loves her and they found the black cube, and she says that she loves him too, and it was a true childhood love story.
Bet you fuckers forgot about the black cube, didn't you? It's all been like personal drama and pill addictions and shit.
And statutory rape.
So it cuts to back home, and we see Emily sitting on the bed alone, drinking. Dylan and Leah trudge through the wilderness and go back to the fucking magic mushroom, and it's still there.
It's the same mushroom.
They watch it transform into a purse again as the ghost fart poofs by. And
what is all of this shit?
This is it.
I don't
know.
This
is the part. This is the part where I was like, you fucking bastard. He thinks he's the most brilliant man because of this brilliant juxtaposition that he did, because Leah starts sprinkling the beads of her bracelet into the mushroom box, and it's cutting back and forth with Emily sprinkling pills down her throat. And like, fuck you goddamn hack bastard. So...
Well, now I'm angry all over again because I didn't catch that.
So they open the notebook and it says it's a magical day. And it's a magical day. It's a magical time. A place where dreams come true. And I was waiting for the full-blown Disney ballad to break out.
Why did they go back?
I honestly don't know. I have no idea. There's a point in the movie where I have no idea what happens anymore.
Oh, there's a point?
I mean, I've sort of been following it up till now.
Nothing. There is not one thing in this movie that makes fucking sense. We're explaining it where it halfway makes sense, but it doesn't make sense.
We're doing the movie more justice than it does itself.
No, dude, they don't even talk about anything. They just say words at each other.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
And then what really got me mad is like nobody does what they say they're gonna do. Like, I'm gonna shoot the car full of holes, and then she shot him. Like, that isn't what you fucking said. And why was the phone bleeding all over the place?
I think that was just bad, set design or whatever.
Well, we know who to blame for that.
Yeah.
So they bury the mushroom box in the muck again as Emily overdoses back home.
They even got them to bury the thing slowly. They did that with the kids, and they did it with them too. They just started them kids. They were anxious. Like, we in a fucking movie now. They were throwing pine needles all over the place, and he said no, slower, and it was so fucking like just slow. It didn't need to be. This thing was slow for no fucking reason.
That's his style.
Oh, okay.
Slowness.
He had to make this an actual movie. It couldn't have been 20 minutes long.
You know, usually I always say, you know, we should, you know, maybe y'all can call me out on this. I am inebriated. Usually, I'm the one that. Usually, I don't want to offend anybody. I don't necessarily want to just call out a fucking guy. You know? Like, I don't want to just call out somebody for making a bad fucking movie. Neil Breen, I want to call this motherfucker out. Like,
fist fight?
No, not fist. Oh, God. I would destroy that old man. But, no, I just want to, like, I would like to interview him like you did the Velocipaster guy, but just start off the conversation by saying, how fucking dare you? What is your problem?
What's going on up there, Breen?
Not as much an interview as, you know, a trial for war crimes.
Yeah. Like, I wasted it. Like, this movie...
The Breen trials.
We make the jokes all the time that, oh, that movie was 6 hours long. This movie was a week fucking long.
That little bar just did not seem to want to get across the screen.
No, and every time I wanted to check it, I'd have that stupid ad pop up with the girl with the jizz on her face. Thanks, John.
Oh man, that's gold.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then, like, I told my wife about it, she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure you're so upset about it." I'm like, "Look, it's not that I'm upset about it. It's just, it's not what I'm used to.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah, it's not what I'm used to." So, in other words, I'm contacting Neil Breen. Damn it!
You already did.
I did.
We forgot to talk about that.
That didn't work out like I wanted.
No, it did not. So, I get a text like, what, 4 or 5 days ago out of nowhere from Blake saying, it just said like, oops, I did a thing or something. And it was a screenshot of him tweeting at Neil Breen saying, hey, there's an illegal copy of your movie up on Pornhub and I'm going to take that down. So I was like, oh man, if he pulls it down.
Now, I started
like
getting desperate.
Stroke.
I started getting desperate 2 days ago. So I actually got on Pornhub and tried to take it off myself. But then, you know, the higher ups at Pornhub tell me, no, you have to be the one that owns the copyright to it. To which I was like, fuck you then. They didn't let me take it down. I was just trying to do the good thing.
So me and Blake had to strategize this whole thing like, okay, we can't stall forever because he's going to catch on if we keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. So what's the latest we can say we haven't watched it in hopes that it gets taken down?
I waited until right before we recorded because I was hoping that the fucking 0 hour would get pulled. And I'm like, well, sorry.
Well, it's gone.
Like, I just watched this thing today.
Then we'd be really screwed because then we'd have to watch another movie in no time.
Yeah. Well.
But then John texts us, look at Blake over here trying to get Neil Breen's attention.
How did you find that?
The Garbage Theater Twitter account follows you, dumbass. As soon as you tweeted it, I saw it.
I guess that makes sense.
Jesus Christ.
I thought I was so slick, too.
Holy shit.
And I know me and Chase had the same reaction as soon as when you sent us the text saying, look at Blake doing this. It was kind of like, oh shit.
I think I even made an audible like, oh!
Yeah. I ran in the bathroom for no fucking reason. Oh shit! It was worth a shot.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't have been mad if you got it done. Like,
What was your reaction when you saw it? Look at this motherfucker.
I was like, what the fuck? Because Neil Breen, he doesn't care about the money.
No,
he just doesn't want anybody seeing his movies.
Dude, he's going after Etsy right now.
He doesn't want anybody seeing his movies, dude. He doesn't give a fuck.
That's what adds a whole other layer.
Yeah, he's got
crazy to this. Like, he's so desperate to keep his movie out of viewers' hands.
You gotta buy it. You gotta buy it directly from him on a shitty burned DVD.
And that's the thing. That's what he thinks, that he has something so genius that people are trying to steal it from him. Which, by the way, Mr. Chicken on Pornhub did steal it.
Sure.
Whoever the hell that is. He was very close to getting shut down, though.
Oh, man. I mean, I guess he recently put up his most recent film, Twisted Pair. You can rent it now on a lot of streaming services, so he's moving in the right direction.
Dude, I can't do another one of these. No. We ain't even finished. We kind of went off on a Biff Sports Almanac tangent just now.
Wait, I still have 3 more pages. We're not even close.
Let's get to it then. I'm sorry.
So, where was I? They buried the mushroom box. They paw at each other in the woods as Emily's dying words are, "I'm sorry, Dylan." All the while, Dylan and Leah are awkwardly pulling each other's shirts off.
Dude, the way he took the straps off of her shoulders, that had got to be like the most creepiest, icky thing.
He just kind of flicked them off.
It was like I'm not even a chick, but if a dude did that to me, I'd be like, hold on, Hoss.
I'm suddenly drier than the Sahara.
Yeah, exactly. And it has nothing to do with your face.
Yeah. So they both take their shirts off, but we only see his nipples.
He thinks he's straight up like Fabio on the front of a romance novel.
Oh, yeah.
He does. And he does this twice in the movie where
right.
So he does the thing where you look at their feet and their like clothes hit the ground.
Yeah.
But it's only their shirts. Both times.
John, nothing below the waist is required in sexual intercourse.
No,
he doesn't know what sex is. He has no clue what sex is.
Sex completed.
So Dylan arrives back home.
Sex
and
achieved.
He finds Emily dead. He shows next to no emotion at all as she cradles her and tries to wake her up. "It was you. I know it was you. It was you. What?"
I had to think about this, and I think he was saying it was her that told his therapist about his hacking.
That's what it is.
How'd he find out someone knew he was hacking?
But why would he also be accusing her of this, like, while she's dead? Why is it the first thing that comes to his mind? It's like, you betray me, you fucking dead bitch.
I wonder what his hacker name is. Because I know it's not Zero Cool or Lord Nikon or anything.
No, it's like Neil Breen.
So he silently mouths no a couple of times, and it's back to work. He just left her corpse in the other room.
Not only back to work, but he already moved the next broad in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he gets over his wife's death so fast. Like at a Seagal level speed.
Yeah, it's almost like he knew the other girl since she was 8 years old.
He just threw his wife's like stuff and her corpse out on the front lawn.
Free to good home. So he calls on his phone and he leaves a message on his phone that Emily's dead, and he falls asleep at his desk again, and the fucking magic cube's in his hand, and more flashbacks of him and Leah nude in the cave. And he's back on the phone again saying that he's gone deeper than his first book. And guess what? It's not actually a book. It's research that'll make a difference to people all over the country. Boom, back with therapist number 2, telling him not to let the outside world poison his spirit. Kapow! Back with Leah. They're eating a plate of lawn trimmings in his
No.
in his office, and he spills them
This
all over
dude
his
has
desk.
just raw fucking spinach on a plate.
You know,
He eats one leaf.
human food.
He's a fucking tortoise man.
Yeah, he eats one leaf of it and then sets it on some files and it falls over and they look at each other like, oh, you're so silly. I wanted to slap both of them. Because she kept giggling at him. Like, what's cute about that? A geriatric man eating a leaf and spilling a fucking plate?
He tells her that he hasn't been working on a book, but he's hacksawed the government secrets and found worldwide hypocrisy. And she says that he's going to get himself killed. And he says, no one knows but
wait.
you.
Hold on. It just hit me. His big stand is hypocrisy?
Yes.
He's a fucking hypocrite. Nobody lied more than him. He was full. He wanted to goose another woman while his wife was still cooking chicken at a barbecue. He isn't who he said he was.
No,
He's the villain.
He's a villain for sure.
I'm calling this asshole.
I want to know what he thinks, if he thinks Dylan is the hero in this movie. I really want to know.
So she says that he's going to get himself killed. He says, no one knows but you. But you're right. Others do know what I'm doing.
And his doctor. His fucking doctor knows.
Yeah, both of them.
He breaks a couple more laptops in a very energetic fit of rage and says that he's not ready for this. Dramatic shot of an outdoor electrical outlet.
What the hell was that?
It's setting the stage for the kidnapping about to happen.
See, I thought that the stream had just stopped. So once again, I pause it, and all of a sudden, it's Big Dick McGee across my screen. But it was just an outlet.
Yep, for a couple of seconds, just an outlet. Some man dressed all in black, like a burglar, pours some peroxide on a rag. That's gonna do something.
It was peroxide. That was my big note. That is fucking peroxide.
He ambushes Lee, and instead of coming behind her and putting the rag on her mouth, he comes dead at her straight on, and they kind of slap box for a few minutes until he finally gets the rag on her mouth and drags her away.
He was another guy that was afraid to touch a woman. Because he stood in front of her, and he had the stuff, and he just stood there. And then she started pushing him.
Yeah.
She was the aggressor in this situation.
Yeah. He's got his bases covered.
You know, he was just out there trying to peroxide the weeds. And
So he drags her away, and seconds later, Dylan walks up. He's on the phone, I guess on the answering machine for her. And he says that, I'm walking up to your house. I'm almost at the door. I see your purse on the ground.
what a creep.
What he narrates.
What an absolute creep.
He's a fucking psychopath. He's narrating what he's doing, seeing that the woman's been kidnapped on her phone. She's been kidnapped.
Yeah. And then it like cuts for some reason and comes right back and he's like, I went in your house and you weren't there.
You ain't go in that house, you fuck. So then he says, I'll find you. I have a particular set of skills. None of them apply to this scenario at all. So Dylan wanders through a storage facility. Oh, I forgot. When he looks down and he sees her purse, the kidnapper also dropped his kidnapping quest card on the ground.
The exact address on it.
Which let Dylan know, it put a little waypoint on his map to where exactly she is.
Oh my god. Don't put this idea in my head, because now I kind of want to play like an RPG or a Neil Breen.
One of those old DOS games where it's like
Oh, you want to play an online RPG where it doesn't make fucking sense and it's hard to find everything and nothing at all is where it should be? Go play Old Republic.
Blake and I started playing Old Republic for some reason, and I don't know if we're ever gonna go back to it.
I was gonna tell you, look, go on, leave me behind because I'm done.
I have no problems leaving that game on.
That game sucks.
Anyway, Dylan goes to the storage facility, and there's a trailer parked there with the kidnapper asleep outside of it.
Why is a trailer at a storage facility?
I don't know. That's where you park your kidnapping trailer. It makes sense in his head, I guess. Dylan grabs the guy and demands to know where Leah is. He demands, "Give me the keys to the trailer." The guy says, "I don't have the keys." So Dylan bashes him on the head with a bottle.
Yeah, it went from 0 to ape shit real quick right there.
Dylan calls out to Leah, and fucking phases into the trailer like he's Vision or something.
What the fuck is going on at this point?
He tells her
Is he
that
deaf?
he's gonna. He says, "I'm gonna get you out of here," over and over and over again. But I have to blindfold you, because what I'm about to do, you can't see. Trust me, I'm going to get you out of here, but you can't see what I'm about to do. Trust me, you can't see it. I'm going to get you out of here. Trust me, you can't see what I'm about to do. Trust me, I'm going to get you out of here, but you have to trust me. You can't see it. Just trust me.
And it makes sense. Like, okay, you don't want her to freak out that somehow you can phase through solid objects. But then he's like, "I'm going to put the gag back in your mouth." Why?
I'm like, what?
Fucking gags her.
I'm gonna put the gag back in too. That's just
Also,
for me.
I don't like the way he said gag. I'm gonna put the gag back in your mouth.
I'm going to put the gag back in your mouth. If you hear papers being thrown up in the air, don't worry about that.
That's right.
I'm not priming up for anything right now.
Exactly.
He then walks her to the door and phases both of them out the door, and they escape. Back home, where Allie's there again, and Dylan is screaming at her to leave. "Get out of here. You can't come here." He's talking, it's like she's a stray dog that got in the house.
Yeah, he just gives her a little kick.
She says that the police are at my house and they're questioning Amy about my dad's death. And she tells him that, "You know that she killed him, right?" And he tells her, "You need to go to the police right now." And she walks out like a zombie. Slower.
And that's the
louder.
last we ever see of any of those characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did they? What is this? What? Who? How?
Yeah.
Why did they? Why did they exist?
Yeah, where's Tim?
Hashtag justice for Tim.
Yeah.
So later, Dylan's in bed with Leah. The person in black is back in the house, snooping around, getting closer. In his office, the laptops start to move around on their own. They're tired of getting pushed around. A drawer opens up and a paper slightly falls down. The ghost fart makes its way across the bed, and the bedroom door slowly opens. And mirrors and pictures start to slightly shimmy on the wall.
Can I admit something about the door opening slowly?
Yes.
We all know that I'm a pussy when it comes to scary. I didn't want to watch because I thought there was going to be a jump scare, so I didn't watch the screen while that happened, and then I went back and watched it. Because I didn't want to be the guy that got that peed a little bit because Neil Breen scared me.
To your
How
credit,
embarrassing.
the door opens extremely slowly. There's a lot of tension there as to what's going to be on the other side.
Something was coming at me, and I was like, "Nope, can't
And
watch
it's
that."
nothing. It's like just when you thought the Carnage ghosts were ineffective and pointless.
Right.
So Dylan slips out of bed as not to wake up Leah, gets in his car, and drives across the fucking country. and he calls his house and leaves a message for Leah that I had to leave town for a day, but I promise you everything's okay. Don't worry about me. And he drives out to the desert, hopefully to kill himself.
The way he explains it to her is the way you explain something when everything's not okay. Yeah. Look, I promise you everything's okay. I'm leaving for a day or so, but don't worry. Everything's fine. I'll be gone, you sitting down? But I'm coming back. I promise I'll be back. I'm 70% sure I'll be back.
So he wanders out into the desert, and some ghosts appear.
Briefly.
And they leave that big-ass book on the table in front of him, and he asks them, should I be afraid? Should we all be afraid? And then the book disappears. And so he goes home.
What is this? Like,
he drove across country for that.
And the ghost or whatever they were, they stood there for like a second, and then they were gone.
Back at the fucking therapist.
Which is what I'm going to have to do.
Well, he walks up to the door, and there's a Post-it note on the door that says, the therapist isn't here anymore. And then she Marty McFlies out of the fucking existence.
What the hell? So was she real? And if she wasn't real, was he paying her?
I don't know.
If she wasn't real, who put the Post-it note on the door?
I mean, how does your insurance charge a ghost?
That's how you close down a professional service. Just a Post-it note on the door. Bye-bye.
Yeah. They didn't even take down her name. Like, it had her name on the thing, and the Post-it note under it. Wouldn't they just take the plaque off with her name?
She no here no more.
Yeah.
Back home, Dylan and Lee in bed. Person in black, right on cue. Mirror, picture, shaking, go. Bedroom door opens. Person in black goes in and starts bleeding on his shoes and disappears.
It's got a UTI or something.
Right.
Something's going on.
Death's got some problems. Death's gonna stop using that Mr. Bubble.
It was very viscous blood, too.
So, morning comes, and as they wake up, Leah notices a tassel on her chest from that big-ass book. And Dylan says, a friend left that here for us last night. Fuck you. Run, lady.
Like, she doesn't even care. Okay. Y'all know I like to try all these things out on my wife.
Sure.
I'm gonna go get some tassels. I'm gonna leave them on the bed. And when she sees them, I'm gonna say, a friend left those for here. I can't talk. A friend left those here for us last night. How do you think that's gonna go?
2 bags in the trunk, out the door.
Well, I tell you now, I won't be able to play the same trick the next night because I won't be in the goddamn bed.
Yeah. So Leah gets on the phone and tells whoever's on the phone that she can't let anything happen to Dylan. And cut to a press conference. Here we go. 10 minutes left of the movie. Cut to a press conference where Dylan, clearly standing in front of this random government building, tells the press that he's been hacksawing the universe, and they all applaud him.
They're trashing our rights.
I expected it to cut to those old ladies in the old Monty Python Flying Circus clapping. So, he says that he's been hacking the universe, and it says that he's discovered more information than any hacker has ever. And he pulls out the D20 and he casts magic missile on him. And he says that.
He says all the files are in the cube.
He says the files are on the cube.
Okay, so we're gonna assume. How long ago was the flashback?
Nobody knows.
We'll call it 25.
No one knows.
Years.
He's 105.
Yeah,
so
we'll call it 25 years. They didn't have flash drives.
It's a rock.
I know, but like I got a USB drive that looks like a little gorilla. But I know that's not what this was. It was a rock. It's not you can't get files on it.
It's at that point that all of the media should have been packing their stuff up. Like, okay.
And then he says he's releasing the files to the public. How?
I'm going to release these files to the public. And some random asshole gets up and he confesses that money and greed was the main goal of my company. And I'm afraid of going to prison, and fucking shoots himself right there on the stage.
Now, I couldn't tell if all this was happening. Like, I tried to give him some credit. I don't think all this was happening at the same time.
Not all of it did, but god damn it, if you're gonna have two people blow their brains out, don't do it on the same backdrop that your ass is in the scene we're fucking watching.
Right. Poor choice. But I think what he was trying to convey was he's having the press conference, and due to the press conference, they're showing like flash forwards maybe of these people killing themselves.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, like they're doing like a confessional like style thing that's sort of separate from the actual like
but it didn't
timeline of the movie. Yeah.
Way to go, asshole.
Yeah. Michael Corleone's christening his baby and everybody's getting whacked.
Yeah. Perfect.
So that guy kills himself. So it cuts to Dylan smiling, and then a senator gets up and he resigns, and it shows him hanging himself in his house. And so Dylan says that these files will not endanger any innocent persons, but it will expose governments that have committed crimes against mankind. And then this fucking guy gets up and says, "Today, I resign as president of the bank." And then he kills himself. So then some woman gets up and she says, "I resign as congresswoman." And some other guy comes up and says, "I'm going to be indicted for my crimes." And the congresswoman, it's shown in her garage running her car and suffocating herself to death.
But she rolled the window up.
Yeah.
You're only prolonging it, sister.
Yeah. So, and then the guy that was saying he was going to be indicted, he swallows a fistful of pills and takes a little nap on his steering wheel. A Wall Street broker confesses to scamming and slits his wrists and he stuff him in a body bag. And then Dylan says that the systems in place undermine society's best interests for the purpose of greed and fraud. But then, oh no, Dylan, on the grassy knoll in the distance, a shooter appears. Crosshairs on Dylan's head. A gunshot rings out. The shooter's been shooted.
But who was he shooted by?
I don't know.
No way to know.
Like, Dylan looks down with no emotion. Is he seeing that his assassin was just assassinated?
Yeah, he sees it.
And he's unfazed?
It's 2 feet away from him. Maybe he's got mind bullets.
I gotta read you the plot synopsis from the Wikipedia article on this.
Okay.
It tries to explain things.
I'm like 3 seconds from finishing this thing.
I know.
Okay.
So he says that you have to act now on your own, outside of the corporate system. It's our only hope for the future. And so it cuts, and later he's walking through the woods with Leah again, and it's showing it's the same path that when they were children, and he hears a wounded wildebeest in the distance, and the fart ghost poofs away one last time, and the movie fucking ends. Fuck you, Neil Breen.
Holy shit, dude.
Did y'all stick around for the credits?
Yeah.
No. Dude, there's an Easter egg in the credits that he immediately tells you what the Easter egg is. And it infuriated me. So you're watching the credits, and it's got all these companies that did the catering and the lighting or whatever, all this stuff. You go through all this stuff, and at the end it says, any company with a B or an N in it was me. So, of course, I had to rewind it again. There's only one company that he didn't have, like, one company that helped make the thing. He made this whole shell operation for like, shits and giggles in his credits.
Because he didn't want his credits to be 10 seconds long?
Or maybe he didn't want it to, like, just all be Neil Breen? I don't know.
Like, okay, that's cool if you want to have that little Easter egg, but don't tell people about it. That way, years down the line, when people realize you're fucking genius, they're like, "Hey, do you know that Cheese and Crackers Craft Services is really just Neil Breen?"
He made everybody tater tots.
Yeah.
At the end of the credits, it's just a picture of him pointing up, saying, "That was all me."
It is so wild, dude.
Motherfucker.
Incredible. Come on.
No.
We talked about this thing for almost 2 hours. You can't tell me that
it was the worst movie. This, like, hands down, the worst movie I've ever seen in my life.
This is gonna be a reigning champ for worst of the worst for some time.
There's nothing beating this for the worst movie ever.
But, like, it was... like I told Chase, I found it just fascinating. I was never bored by it either. Like,
well, then you're a psychopath.
I wanted to know what was going to happen. Anything could happen.
I was sure, before you dropped the bomb on us, this is what we were watching, I was sure Alien Predator was going to be, like, the movie that just inspired rage and was going to be the worst movie. Then you wheel out this fucking thing.
Dude, it's the
worst, dude. It's the worst thing ever, but it's hard to be mad at it because the guy is mentally ill.
Like, I'm not mad at it at all. I want everyone to see it. Like, Alien Predator has nothing. It's nothing. This is like, what? What?
No,
with like
Alien
3
Predator,
exclamation points.
Alien Predator had people working on a movie that knew they were making a shitty movie. This, on the other hand...
But that's way less interesting than someone who thinks they're making a good movie and makes this.
No, I don't know. This was absolute dog shit, and I hated every bit of it.
I did not enjoy watching it.
And it was so slow and loud.
Slow and loud. Oh, God. Man. Here, let me see here. So, in the Wikipedia article, the plot, he says, Dylan publishes his book, hosting a press conference in which he divulges, quote, the most secret government and corporate secrets. During his speech, an unknown figure attempts to assassinate him, only for Dylan to kill him using psychic powers.
Wait.
That's what this thing said. I don't know if I buy this at all, because it's totally insane.
Yeah, but we have nothing else to go on.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know those bushes were loud that guy came through, too. The shitty assassin.
On his like psychotherapist is going to visit his psychologist one last time. Dylan learns that she is, in fact, a ghost. And then he must now face the Council of Spirits who guard the book he has long been seeing in his dreams.
What the fuck? The Council of Spirits?
The Council of Spirits.
He didn't name them.
I don't know where they're getting this information from.
What the hell's the Council of Spirits?
He faces them by asking them a question, and then they just ghost him. And they take the book too. He never gets to look in that book.
Not once.
The Council of Spirits.
Like nothing in this movie makes sense.
No, that's right. Nothing makes sense.
How you're delivering that like Dutch in Red Dead. He insists. The Council of Spirits, like the anger.
Oh.
Okay, ask your stupid fucking questions.
Oh yeah.
All right, assholes.
God. I feel safe in my lead right now.
You should. You absolutely should.
All right, here we go. The first time we see Emily at the beginning of the movie, what fruit is sitting on the kitchen counter?
Got it. You want to know how many of them, too?
No.
Wait,
question
who's
2.
Emily?
His wife.
Ah, yeah.
Dylan's wife.
You want to know how many of them, too?
Sure.
No. Okay.
What color is Dylan's desk lamp?
I think I got that one. Holy shit.
How many times can Dylan not believe Jim committed suicide?
Oh, God.
Who actually wrote the books that he's been throwing around his desk the whole time?
Shit.
There's a shot where you can see the author's name.
I did not see that.
No, don't know.
Okay. Final question. What color is Leah's shirt at the barbecue? All right. You guys ready?
I am not confident about any of this.
All right. What fruit is sitting on the kitchen counter?
Bananas.
I also said bananas.
Bananas is correct.
There's 4 of them.
Okay. Again, not part of the question, but congratulations. What color is Dylan's desk lamp?
Red.
I also said red.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm dead.
Red. It's red.
Serious. Let me answer first, because I don't want to be accused of anything.
Yeah, you were about to get accused.
How many times can Dylan not believe Jim committed suicide?
5.
I said 4.
4 is correct.
Shit.
This is ridiculous. Who is the author of the books Dylan's been throwing around?
Ernest
Dr.
Hemingway.
Seuss. I have no idea.
It's Bob Woodward.
Who?
Bob Woodward, All the President's Men guy. What color is Leah's shirt at the barbecue?
Green.
Blue.
It's red.
Oh, damn it.
I did better than I thought.
Oh,
I was.
Leah. Oh, wrong chick. My bad.
Oh yeah, Emily's shirt was blue.
Yeah, my bad. No, it doesn't matter. I got 3. I'm good with that.
You did.
Oh, I'm ahead with 18, but guess who's all tied up for second?
God damn it.
13-13.
I was really trying to avoid that.
I've got a lovely lead going
that's
into
what
the
you
exam.
Get, asshole.
Fuck.
Oh, Lord. Christ. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Fuck, say something nice.
Oh, there is nothing nice to say about this thing. You know what though? I do. It's kind of. Yeah, I don't know if it's a joke or not, but I'm just gonna say I was really surprised with as many people that committed suicide in this movie. They really should have had the suicide hotline number at the end of this fucking movie. Like, I don't know if that's halfway a joke or not.
They should have just put it on the screen as the whole last 10 minutes.
I mean, how many people killed themselves in this movie, or were framed to have committed them, or made to look like they committed suicide?
It's like 7 or 8.
Yeah, like put the hotline up, asshole.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. There was nothing like good about it. It is hard to say something nice.
No, there was nothing good about this. Nothing.
This is legitimately impossible to do.
You had a crazy person at the helm of this thing.
I still think it's like it's weirdly compelling.
Well, of course you would. Of course you would.
I was ready for you to say brilliant, and I was gonna reach through this goddamn microphone.
No, I mean it's obviously not. It's completely incompetent. But like, I don't know. I was charmed by it.
Yeah, it's
myself.
definitely a John movie.
Yeah.
And when it comes out that this guy's like the most evil pedophile on the planet, we could all sit back and kick up our heels and listen to John explain it away.
Just laugh at John.
Whew. Blech. So that's it. Season 6 in the books. Boy, this... I know we say this every season, but it's just getting worse.
No, you're forgetting. This season had great stuff in it. We had Velocipaster.
We had Velocipaster, which
was like 2 years ago.
It was.
What else?
But to go from
Tammy
the
and the
high of
T-Rex.
Velocipaster on episode 2 to this, like we've stumbled, my friends.
This season is just. First of all, this season went way longer than our seasons typically do, just from delays and whatnot, and the fucking world ending in 2020.
Well, if this podcast was Icarus, like Velocipaster would have been us making the wings and getting a little too fucking close to the sun.
Yeah.
And then this was just a hard fucking stop at the end.
And we were coming out of that fucking travesty that was Shark Month 2019.
Oof. Yeah, that was a dark time.
It was.
I'm scared for the next Shark Month. But we're not doing Shark Month for our next special month. We got. We'll talk about it on the finale special, but we got us something a cooking.
Oh God.
I am very excited.
Oh, I'm super excited now too. And it was the idea was sparked by the stupidest of reasons.
That's all right.
That's kind of how we roll.
Yeah. So
we do
you'll
roll
find out about
in that direction
next time on the season 6 finale special, where we do our usual lineup, our worst of the worst. We'll give out our awards for the season. A couple little fun things planned.
Well, sorry to spoil it, but we know what the worst of the worst is.
Well, tune in for my dumbass list then, because Fateful Findings isn't on it.
Yeah.
It's not even on it?
I don't think so.
That's absurd.
I think you need to go see a psychotherapist.
Like I said, I thought this was hilarious, honestly. Like,
I laughed one time.
I laughed so much. Just the awkwardness of the dialogue and the acting, all of it was hilarious to me.
Christ. No. Just not. So that's that. Season 6. We don't have another movie yet, because we're going to talk about that once we figure out who's doing the goddamn thing.
The moth, whatever it is.
Because we got to do the exam, see who wins. I'm clinched. I'm in there for sure. But which one of you two is going to be joining me?
How many questions are on the quiz?
Well, you're not getting 10 fucking questions, and I'm missing 10 questions.
How dare you?
I got a 5-point lead. That's solid.
Shit. Yeah, you're probably right.
and just to give him some credit, Aaron, who writes our exam for the finale, not happy about Fateful Findings, to say the least. He's the unsung hero of the podcast. He does all the work and gets none of the glory. He has to watch all the movies we watch.
He was doing it anyway.
So he can write one question per movie for the stupid exam.
And we mention his name like twice.
So
poor guy.
So raise a glass to Aaron.
I'm out of glasses.
Oh.
So next time, when I take the test, I'll raise a glass to Aaron.
So what are we gonna send out on?
I don't know. Fuck this. I'm too drunk and too pissed to worry about it.
I finally got some new villagers to move on to my island.
Who gives a fuck about your Animal Crossing shit?
Once again, how dare you? Yeah, I got Renee on my island now.
Which one's that?
She's a horse, and it's spelled like Nay, Renee.
That's good stuff.
Fucking adorable. And I wished on my first star yesterday, too.
There you go.
I never fucking find them. And then they had like 5 of them, and I missed all those, and I got one by accident.
There was, I can't remember what it was, but one of the new fish or bugs you can catch, you know how they do the little pun that the guy says whenever you catch it? He said one, and right after it says it, it's the dumb pun, and then it stops, and then another bubble comes up. He goes, "These are the jokes, folks," and it legitimately got me. I wish I could remember what the first one was. But I got Zucker on my island now, the little octopus with the ice cream head.
Oh, really?
He's awesome. His house is just a sushi stand in an alleyway.
I got a bunch of sushi outfits.
There you go.
Well,
chime in anytime, John. How many times have you beaten Sekiro again?
Sekiro or whatever it is.
Well, I moved on to Last of Us 2, so almost done with that, I think.
How far along are you in? Almost done?
I think I'm almost done, yeah. I think I'm nearing the end.
Spoiler-free, yay or nay?
Like, I don't know why everyone's so mad.
What kind of furniture can you craft in there? Because I just made a mermaid vanity and it's totes adorbs.
It's just Molotov.
Can you give scallops to otters in exchange for architectural designs?
You might mainly just give bricks to people's faces.
That's satisfying too.
I will say this from the footage, the combat footage I've seen, it's fucking brutal.
Dude, honestly, the combat is really satisfying. Super satisfying. Yeah, it's a pretty good game. It's maybe a little too long, but
when you see her bury an axe into somebody's side, you can see the pain on their face, and it's uncomfortable.
Did y'all see? Speaking of combat footage, did y'all see that the katana footage from Cyberpunk?
No.
Oh, yeah, it's real short. Lasts about 10 seconds. But yeah, blocking bullets with a katana and lopping off a head.
Oh, you're slicing and dicing?
Oh yeah, pretty fucking nice.
John, did you see the fighting style in Ghost of Tsushima? The one-handed katana style?
I don't know. I don't think so. I've only watched that 18-minute gameplay thing.
There's a new one. It's a one-handed katana style, and it's pretty freaking sick.
I'm so down. It's only 10 more days?
Something like that.
I saw they had some expert swordsmen doing reaction videos to the sword play on the trailer or of the gameplay on that.
Yeah.
And some of the stuff they were like, yeah, that wouldn't work, but it looks fucking cool.
Well, you gotta make it.
Yeah, it's a video game.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they were all on board. They were just like, yeah, I couldn't do that, but it looked fucking awesome.
I'm very, very hyped for that game right now.
Oh, Blake, we gotta find something else to play. That's free. Me and Blake are just gonna start a long chain of playing free games and quitting them after 3 gameplay.
Maybe we should start playing what is it, DayZ or whatever?
No.
Why not?
I don't know. That
What are
game
you
just seems
chiming in for? Like you gonna fucking play?
Game looks like a lot of work for nothing.
You more worried about your swordplay game.
Sekiro's incredible.
Okay, let us worry about our shit.
All right. Y'all wouldn't hang in Sekiro. Honestly, I think you guys would just get frustrated. Not good enough.
You know what? You wouldn't hang in the old days of GTA 5. You wouldn't make it 5 fucking minutes with these two psychopaths.
It's probably true.
Oh, it's very true.
Not enough pink, you're dead.
Yeah. You wouldn't dress the part in the beginning. You'd be gone. We had other people try to log in with us.
Mm-hmm.
Show up wearing ties and shit. That's a good way to catch a fire hose from a fire truck.
Blake rolls up in his monster truck, and I come out the back of the monster truck in a tiny truck.
Better hold on to your fucking ass. Shit's about to go down.
Oh, Lord. Okay, let's let these people go.
Yeah,
It's been a long season.
We're sorry.
Thank you for listening to Garbage Theater. As always, you can find us online at facebook.com/Garbage Theater, on Twitter at Garbage_Theater, and on Instagram at Garbage_Theater. If you'd care to leave us a review on iTunes, we would very much appreciate it. And if you have a movie suggestion or just want to reach out to us, You can contact us on any of our social channels or email us directly at garbagetheaterpodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all the latest episodes and happenings. Good night, and see you next time, folks.